Welcome, Packs of Omaha, to episode 5 of season 2 of B2C.
Fresh off CSOP, one day out.
Still hurting.
Yeah.
Shout out to our boy OT, guys working, I think his 7th job today, so he's not going to make it. So
Cheers,
missing the voice.
Yeah. We're already down to like a C grade, so just with the opening.
But back to the episodes. This is episode 5, season 2, Between Two Coupons, featuring your boy, Mojo's, Escobar.
Sarpy Swagger Skids.
And we got a really special episode today. We're really excited to work with the boys of Sarpy Swagger. That's my son's coming down the stairs. Hopefully
Little Inception story, right?
Yeah.
Inception, Sarpy Swagger.
Excellent. So, before we get started, let's do a little bit of Name-A-Rama.
Okay. Great shirt 38 Skids.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Exactly. Budge Austin, 44.
Knobs.
Chad Anderson, 33. Ferdinand.
Michael Pfluger, 45. Jean-Claude.
Jeff Seacher, 40, and Firewalker.
Firewalker.
Last, certainly not least, D-Home 37, Escobar.
Escobar.
You are the youngest. No, never mind. Check that.
No baby face over here.
No Patriots. All right, so warm-up questions. So we like to do a little bit of warm-up questions before we jump into some of the hardcore questions. Speed round. F3 name. Who EH'd you? Favorite AO? And one random fact. Starting with Firewalker.
Jeez, you made me go first.
Poor thing.
This is
Name. Who
great.
EH'd you?
Names
Yeah.
Favorite AO? Random fact.
Firewalker, EH'd by One Tonight Show.
Okay, he's got a treat.
Yes.
Tonight Show.
Yes.
Yes, Tonight Show. Fun fact, I probably could have been a Redwood had I not delayed for a year and a half coming out when he first asked.
You and Ponzi, huh?
And let's see, my favorite AO. I have an affinity toward the Paradise Cafe.
Excellent.
Paradise Island.
Good selection.
Paradise Island.
All right. What do we start
No,
with?
wait. One thing about you. Do we do that?
About me?
Yeah, one surprising thing that nobody knows about you. Wasn't it the fourth question?
Yeah. I forgot that.
Random.
Oh, I thought that was
Random
yeah.
fact.
Random fun
Random
fact.
fun fact.
Yeah. Really wait for that.
Jeez. I love to go out and just be by myself. I'm a myself person. Just spend a little time. I call it Jeff time. We could call it
self-care
time.
Who's Jeff?
Self-care.
Jeff time.
Yeah, self-care.
Firewalker time. I need some Jeff time. So that's how I decompress.
I like that.
That's how I do it.
It's good.
Okay, so what was the order of the questions?
Name. Who EH'd you?
Jean-Claude, EH by Crawl, so I'm a second generation tater tot EH.
Okay. Favorite
Which
AO?
would be actually a third generation, I believe, big one.
Big one.
EH.
Yeah.
So,
So that tree.
yeah.
Big one, yeah.
Big one EHT.
Yeah. Favorite AO, to keep it spicy, I will say the district has a special place in my heart.
Okay.
A lot of early mornings on the Smurf and Murph, driving with this guy, and I don't know, budget knobs made it too many of those, but you were coming for a while.
Yeah, early on.
Yeah, but that was for a long time the closest AO for us down in Sarpy on Mondays.
Cool. We'll revisit that fact. So thank you for that. It's good.
Yeah. Fun fact: I absolutely hate baths. I think I've taken one bath in 17 years of marriage.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's just
Don't.
inefficient.
It's the efficiency the water
And just like the self, like you're just
Sitting
marinating in it.
around.
Yeah. I like the flush.
So is there a bathtub in your house?
There is a bathtub.
Not
I've
for you.
never used
It's
it.
for the dogs.
Never.
It's for Charlie.
No, the
Yeah.
spouse, the M loves her baths.
All
She had the requirement of bathtub, otherwise there would be no bath in
Cool.
the master.
right.
I like that. Interesting.
Ferdinand, and I was EH'd by, it's kind of a fight between Trench and Tony the Tiger. I think officially on paper, Trench gets the nod.
Oh, nice.
But Tony the Tiger drove me to my first post, so it's a fight there.
Right with the boss kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I would have to say I'm with Firewalker because it was my first post and I like running and it's just a fun place. I think Paradise Island's probably my favorite to this day. And fun fact is in my previous life I was a world champion mutton buster, and I no longer have the belt buckle to show because my house burnt down and it didn't come out with it. But yeah, that was fun times. It was like in the old where they used to have the rodeo, and now that place is no longer a deal. So yeah,
World champion.
World
champion.
International.
I don't
And
think
they have international competition.
did the whole
I don't
lane.
think you did the
Yeah.
Nice.
Little flight was like 5 years old. It was awesome.
It's right on Step Brothers.
Little Lane Frost right there.
Yeah.
Partner killers are right up your alley.
Yeah.
We could have called you Luke Perry. Because we were there when you got named. Is it my turn now?
Yeah.
Okay. Budge Awesome Knobs. So for me, I think it's interesting when we think about. I was EH'd by Honey Stinger. Stinger, I knew about F3 because I had a bunch of buddies from the Carolinas who were F3ers and Go Ruckers that I saw all over Facebook and Twitter. I didn't know what it was, and then I saw he posted something on Facebook one day, and so I hit him up when I saw him, and he's like, "Hey, come out and join." This kind of leads into my favorite AOs, and Stinger did a great job at EH. He didn't tell me anything. I even showed up in the wrong location because when I went to the pit, being a Papio kid, the pit is actually where the football field is. That's the pit. That's the snake pit, but it's actually a duck pond. So that messed me up a little bit. I was a little late for my cue, but luckily it was one of Gunner's cues, and but when leading into it, there was only one Papio site at the time. It was the pit.
Yeah.
So we had to go up north. We had to travel north to get going. So I was a Coliseum pit guy, but I would tell you what kept me going for the longest time was going to the woodshed.
Mm-hmm.
The woodshed, Fridays in the woodshed was and still is one of those special places where it seemed where everyone came out of the woodworks to be there. And the woodshed was the Flat Friday. It was a lot of fun. It was usually if there was snow on the ground, there was a snowball fight or something going on. And just shenanigans. It was just a great time. So yes, a hard work, but a lot of fun. So I'd say woodshed is my top AO. And I think it's strange that all of us who have formed our own sites at one point in time with the Sandlot, Titan Alley, Farm, and the Sanitarium did not choose our own AOs, but it kind of shows you where we kind of focus. But and fun fact for me, it's not really fun, but I'm a barbecue enthusiast, so I love smoking meat. I've ruined more good pieces of meat learning how to do it, but it is one of my passions and hobbies, and it's my tinker. It keeps me home because I don't sit still very well.
There's something therapeutic about smoking a few meats and just the man versus fire.
Yeah, just figuring it out, trying and ruining things, and then you finally have something that comes out great, and you're like, I do this.
Speaking of, so this is a good segue. So speaking of the process, I had a chance to review the timeline that was put out in the newsletter about a month ago. And it was kind of interesting just seeing the growth in Sarpy over the years and what you men have created or fostered. It's been, it's an amazing thing that's part of the F3 origin story. So with that said, I think the packs of F3 Omaha would love to understand, like, what is Sarpy Swagger exactly?
Probably have to ask KOA.
Yeah.
Props to KOA. He came up with the name.
Okay. Well, what is it to you, individually?
Someone mentioned an origin story on. We not heard that one yet.
I don't know if we've heard it yet.
That might have been on the ones we just filmed last weekend. But someone said it had to do with you two initially coming up north, and someone in, we'll just say DC,
Yeah.
said they gave them the name and said, hey, you're bringing a lot of the, maybe they didn't connect to.
No.
you're bringing a lot of
That is
swag.
100% urban
That's-
legend.
that's
Nothing to do with it,
Yeah.
yeah.
See,
I love how that
it-
story's grown because I can get behind that.
It was
Yeah.
it was on WhatsApp when there was only 8 of us on
Yeah.
group text. You know,
trying to
before
put
WhatsApp.
together
Group
a
text before class.
Sarpy shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we were just trying to come up with, we were going to do multiple logos. This was before the inception of the farm and the sanitarium was just coming on. And we were trying to just conceptualize what a Sarpy shirt would look like at that time and get it approved because apparently,
Approval is
approval was a big deal.
Because remember, at first it was a South Side.
It was Southside. It was
So
just different stuff.
Outside.
Yeah, so we had a bunch of the little names we were talking and kind of throwing out there.
Yeah,
So swagger sounds like it's not physical. It's more of a mentality, right? Is that
100%.
Well, it's the way you carry yourself, the way you do things, and I wasn't trying to cut John Claude off there, but I think that's exactly the mentality that came up when Titan Alley was opening up as this is a promotion period to get things going.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that Titan Alley, because I've heard it 1,000 times, has the best pull-up bars in the metro. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind because
Yeah.
conviction was in his eyes telling you, yeah,
There was
he was there.
The best Smurf.
Yeah,
Fastest.
fastest Smurf.
Fastest,
Yeah.
And I think what people don't realize often that haven't been around since I'd say the earlier days, not even going back to the Redwoods, but kind of like Gen 2.0 of F3 Omaha. Like the pit struggled for a year and a half. And when I say struggle, if there weren't people from DC coming down and supporting that location, attendance would have been 6.
We can tell you the
Or
Dave Graham
less.
videos, like a bunch of people have never seen the Star video, and like you could tell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The blood shots, the toadstools,
Tenderfoot.
Tenderfoot was down there all the time. Safe Ride was down there all the time.
Folsom and Beta.
Plague, I have not forgotten about you because Plague brought.
Blake started the.
Yeah.
Like it, we don't want to give him credit, but we will. But Sarpy doesn't happen without play.
Nope.
I agree.
Nope.
And it's Gunner clearly grew it significantly. So I
Yes.
mean that's a guy that's not sitting here today that deserves a ton of credit for the work that he has.
Who recruited for this one? My bad.
So thinking about like the AO health is always is kind of a cafeteria topic that you hear from time to time. And what was the catalyst to get Sarpy moving in the right direction?
Well, first, John Claude and I had to get our VQs out of the way.
Yep.
So this is a pretty fun story, actually. Did you know John Claude and I are pretty close to neck and neck to about holding out on our VQs for as long as possible? I wasn't going to do my VQ until he did his.
I was not aware of that, but I
was holding
had no
out
intentions
for-
of having.
It's amazing that we even queue,
Yeah.
right? Let alone be given a site. That's
That
So you had to get a queue out of the way to get another site launch. Is this?
I
this
did.
the
No,
story?
whether or not a Murph queue counts is probably another story.
If you're thinking about VQing, yes, it does count after you've queued another site.
January 5th, 2020 was my first actual queue.
Yeah.
So I started in July and I waited until January to do my first queue.
Wow. Did you queue before I did? Because I thought mine was in Feb.
I think I did.
Yeah, because I think I was like February. Like,
Oh.
Yeah, see, I started in September. My first queue was in May.
Oh.
Yeah. There was a significant period in there where there were a lot of holding outs and
queue reluctance.
Was that
Queue
holding out,
reluctance.
or is that more just how it was?
I don't know.
Well,
No, I
it's
think
just,
it-
but also you gotta think there
Stubbornness.
wasn't as many sites.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
So you gotta think, so we go to Coliseum and you see 45 guys. You go, so there wasn't as many opportunities to queue. So you didn't see a VQ within the first few weeks to a month like you're seeing now because there's these sites and there's a willingness and people were talking about it.
Yes.
Then it was you had to ask. There was a lot of you had to lean in to say, hey, how do I get here? How do I do this? So it is kind of an interesting aspect of how things can come into play.
So I'd be interested to hear from Nodos because I gave him the Heisman the first time he asked because I got this random text from him and he's like, hey, would you help me co-queue, I think, Futurama? And I didn't respond for like a day and a half. Then my response was, are you asking me because you want help or are you asking me because you want me to queue? And I ended up not queuing that time, but yeah, there was definitely some resistance for it.
So who are the kind of OG Sarpy County guys? Like, if Sarpy County had a Redwood coalition, who would they be?
Plague,
Plague started off.
Plague, Gunner, Bloodshot,
Gunner, Bloodshot, Safe Ride.
Safe Ride.
That's the nod to the big guys who kind of had the vision to keep it going.
Yeah, they drove down 84th Street, that 84th Street corridor to come queue at the pit
That's awesome.
every week, not weather dependent. They were there every week for a
And
week.
at that point, Dragon wasn't there, but Oracle was there another, was downtown.
Just Oracle.
Just
Pit.
Oracle.
Yeah.
Just work on the pit on Saturdays.
It's an interesting question you brought up, Dragon's Lair. I always wonder, is that considered Sarpy?
Yeah,
Swagger?
right.
All right, just physically, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, if they went in, they're in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that?
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking of the guys that kind of run it, like Tonight Show and those guys.
Yeah.
They're kind of
Yeah.
West Omaha guys, you know.
I'm not sure. I'm not
That's
sure they
awesome.
would. You know, who knows where the line lies, or
Yeah.
with them. But as far as welcoming in this space, definitely.
Just like F3,
Yeah.
Sarpy County is open to all
Yeah.
Sarpy County sites.
Sarpy
Yeah.
County sites.
But
Yeah.
I want to go back to Sarpy
But-
Swagger. There
Yeah,
is
sure.
there's this humility that exists
Mm.
in the packs, but they're gonna come and they're gonna lay it on the line. When they show up, you know, they're going to get after it, and if they're leading the beat down, you're gonna feel it. And that's, that has maybe a little bit to do with the guys around them encouraging, but man, how many people avoid Plague's workouts because they're just damn hard,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Like, but that's the thing. That's how a lot of us grew up is going to Plague's frickin' workouts and being like, well,
Yep.
shit.
That's just
I'm
right.
here,
Yeah.
and that's just the way it is. But you just learn. You learn how to put a workout together. But there's this humility about I'm gonna get here and I'm gonna get after it.
Yes.
And not that the guys in DC don't get after it, because they do. They absolutely do. And how many of those guys know how to tweak a workout just to lay you on your tail when you're done? And
Yeah.
it's just. But it's the swagger. It's the pre-run. It's the swagger. It's the guys are gonna show up and they're gonna get after it.
So hold on, I would be remiss if we don't go back to your question that comes to the Sarpy Redwoods.
Okay.
Okay, because I think that's, you pay homage, you do because they definitely those guys, and I throw a tenderfoot in there as well, and Folsom and Beta, they were always
Yep.
down there.
Absolutely.
Really,
Gumbo.
yeah,
Yep.
you definitely rocking it. Yeah, Gumbo definitely before he left town.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys were always down there at the pit. And I even see Crab Cakes too. There's quite a few guys.
Yes.
Lemon Law.
Yep, Lemon Law. Yeah,
Lemon Law,
Lemon Law in K-Town now and Kearney. But
Yep.
I would say when it comes down to the original guys that kind of had visions for what Sarpy would be, I'd say these two guys right here with JC and Firewalker, for the sheer fact that I came in, and we kind of come guns a-blazing, and we stood up, Sandlot in July, we stood up Titan Alley in September, and we stood up Sanitarium in December. But for me, standing up Sanitarium in December, I wouldn't have had that wherewithal to even think about it, and I even had hesitation to stand it up because I was like, okay, well, are they going to come? They're going to come down, and it was truly through what we saw with the Sandlot still was getting its normal 12 to 15 guys that would come down there on Thursdays, but the Monday Murph really kind of flipped the lid on things here in Sarpy that allowed to show that there is acceleration here, because there's guys that they just don't want to run. I mean, and that was one thing whenever I'd go to Coliseum on Tuesdays, I'd always hear, "You just run too freaking much down there in Sarpy.
No.
Just run too much down in Sarpy," or they'd say Papio, "You just run too much." you know, and that's okay by me. I'm like, yeah, perfect. Pop the collar, let's go.
Yeah.
Premier running AO.
Yeah, they didn't know I was struggling on the runs.
You know, you guys are talking about what Sarpy Swagger is, right? And so I was taking some notes, and so what I heard is show up in fours, pride and quality and beat downs, pre-run thoroughbreds. I mean, it's very clear when you guys show up for a pre-run in any county, you guys are running somewhere between 7:30 and 8-minute splits.
You're trying to make that stick, aren't you?
I'm telling you, man,
Thoroughbred.
thoroughbreds the thing, brother.
Yeah.
They're called sugar
Exactly.
rays.
Sugar rays.
And then
Sugar rays.
the last is inclusion and acceptance, right? So for me, my first AO experience was the farm. And Ferdy did a tremendous job as the site queue leader for that. So tell us a little about the farm and you setting up that space.
That was as these guys can attest to, that was quite interesting. So these guys, you know, have, you know, more of the stories of like the kind of slow to get Sarpy rolling, right? And then I come guns blazing in October, guns blazing, thinking that I should be a site queue by December. And it's like I've only been here for a few months, and these guys kind of open arms, like, let's make it happen. And you know, but then throughout that process, find out that you got to figure out where's cafeteria, where's the pre-run, do you have a kind of a set of guys that are going to come?
Where's
every
the
week?
approval from the county?
Where's the
Where's
yes? We had to
This
go.
guy went to the
Yeah.
state fair board,
Even the
to-
board.
to get the site approved.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've
Yeah.
never asked approval at any other AO
Yeah.
ever, to my knowledge.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we had a group of us.
Meeting of the board.
Yeah, we had a
Went
group
to
of
the
us.
board meeting
Yep.
to ask
Those
for
two.
approval.
So Ferd and Firewalker went to.
Tony, highlight.
Yeah.
I like.
How'd you explain to them what F3 was?
You know what
Tell
my
that
favorite
story.
part about that meeting was?
I know what you're gonna say.
Was the guy driving, he's like, wait a minute, are you guys up at Prairie Queen Elementary? I'm the guy blowing snow, pushing snow, and you're the crazy guys running around up there.
He did say that.
He
So
knew it.
Oh, really?
he'd seen us out of Titan Alley,
That's awesome.
running the hill, wondering what we were doing out there. But yes, I mean it's just a full. There's a lot more that goes into it than I initially realized to make it happen, and that's so that it can be sustainable long term.
Right.
You know, you jump into something right away, no matter what you do, it's the probability of it lasting long term is a little lower than if you did all the research and all the input that we got prior to launching the farm. So it was kind of just one of those things where it's like I live in Springfield. We at that time we hadn't had
Selfish.
yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Going into the
Wait, we all are. We all are.
We understand it. I mean,
Yeah.
what do we have at that time? We had Sanitarium,
Yeah.
we had Titan Alley, we had Sandlot, we had the Pit,
Go to the pit, yeah.
and then like a week or two prior, we had just launched the DZ,
Yeah.
and we didn't have anything on Friday in Sarpy, so it was a great opportunity to have something on Friday in Sarpy, and I kind of just wanted something to where it was going to be. You know, you go to a lot of these beat downs, and now we're starting to see this more uniqueness. But now there's like the brickyards. You know, you're gonna do a coupon workout,
Yeah.
and you go to some of these workouts, and you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. And that's kind of what I wanted to establish at the farm was, you know, you're gonna do hard stuff. I mean, we've done the heavy ropes, we've flipped tractor tires, we've kind of staked in the ground, posts. You know, we've
Cattle
done.
burpees.
Yeah.
Cattle.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Coupon
so just-
relays, that was a
Yes.
horrible idea.
and it's really, you know, we've done. Shroot had us throwing beats for
Yeah.
catching.
Oh, that was so
Yeah, that was
fun,
fun.
We've done a lot of unique stuff, and that's kind of what it was more about, was how to make another site a little unique, and it's really turned into. Now it's only been almost a year later, and it's been successful. There's been a lot of guys that do enjoy coming every Friday, and but then since kind of that inception, it's like things just went crazy. You know, adding sites and numbers are. I think at when farm first started, we had 10, 15 guys. You know, it's more of the same guys. Now you're getting, you know, upwards of 20, 25 guys, and it's different guys. Guys are some Sarpy guys are going to Brickyard. Some of the Brickyard guys are coming to the farm, and you know, it's just I'm kind of on a Friday farm site queue text message, and it's just crazy to see that we're at over 100 packs on a Friday.
Yep.
Where that used to be kind of more of the mild numbers, just because people were getting ready for the Saturday workouts. the longer ones.
It's a testament to the leadership there. I'll be somewhat provocative. I'd like to say that Black Sheep is probably top 3 coffee spots. Coffee spots in F3 Omaha. Kudos to that.
That campfire stream is fantastic.
That banana nut though.
Yeah, when you put the two
I can't
together,
argue that.
it's
I feel like if there's like 3 aspects you take from different coffee places and meld them together, it's like a perfect cafeteria. I'm not gonna name those because make yell at you.
I mean, you got karma, you got Black Sheep, you know, khakis.
Top 3.
One, you better not forget,
The beanery.
the beanery, because you can't forget about that because we get in trouble for these things.
Oh, we're here on the right.
But that's what we look forward to. That's the cool part about like some of these Sarpy locations is we get to rotate.
Yep.
True.
Yes.
Fair.
Rotate. We go a lot of places.
Yeah.
You know, Slow Roast would subscribe. We could talk more about the beanery. Good sponsor.
Oh,
Sponsor of the. We need a sponsor probably.
Yeah. Do you need a coffee sponsor?
We probably need a coffee.
Slow
sponsor.
Roast, we need a coffee sponsor.
Thanks, Elijah.
We're not so Elijah Craig and Come and Go.
So where I was going with that is, so kudos to you for me personally. The farm's about a 16-minute drive. I know a lot of the Mojo guys are going out of our way, dodging Sarpy County Sheriff. It's always fun.
Yeah.
They're always posted.
Do you know where he is?
They're always posted at 144th
Yeah,
by the bridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they're posted on, what is that highway? What's the highway there?
370.
No.
144.
50, yeah, going into.
Highway 50.
Yeah,
It's Highway 50.
they're always posted like right before the sign goes from 65 to 55.
Yeah,
It's
they're
always
racist,
right there.
Mhm.
It'll zip you.
Yeah, he's there probably every other day, every other time. But what I was gonna ask is, what makes you most proud to see in Sarpy? So just 1 or 2 things that makes you most proud, and let's give you a question here.
I would say the one thing I'm most proud of is it just seems like guys want to get behind their fellow packs, and it happens everywhere. But I truly mean it. So I mean, when we put out a pre-blast, there's already a ton of chatter happening on the WhatsApp app. I think the WhatsApp has been a huge success for Sarpy, getting guys the extra chatter that happens throughout the night. Are you going to chirp Nan or are you not? What's gonna happen? And no, it's good. It's healthy. It's just that extra accountability.
Yeah.
And I'm most excited that we get behind each other real well. And it's like if there's a VQ in Sarpy, there's going to be 25 plus guys there. And that's what I get most excited about.
I think for me, on the excitement level, is still seeing the guys accelerate, the ones that are in the wins who've been doing this for a while, who want more. I mean, when you look at High Life stepping up with Steel Mill, you look, there's a couple other guys who are in waiting, if you want to say, queues in waiting, waiting for that next site to open up. There'll be a couple sites that'll open here soon. I just love seeing it, because when I think about the acceleration that we've had in Sarpy, I think we would be remiss not to, talk about, the KOAs, the trenches,
Oh yeah.
I mean, when I would just write on there on the Twitter, like trench knows the way, when it comes to pre-runs. I mean, so that guy, he leads.
Monster.
He's not gonna be the most vocal person, but he's leading by example in what he does out there. Obviously, with Tony the Tiger, the best EH'er in town. There's and then the list goes on, and obviously we can't forget the Burke brothers, with Lucky Charms and Lloyd Gobbler, and
The
I
Dip
still
brothers?
the Dip brothers really kind of added a whole new element of like where did these guys freaking come from.
So I know they're
Mojo
California guys.
Boys?
Yeah, it's cold. We're not seeing as much right now, but their summer workouts that when I started were like those are the ones that I was circling. I was like, I don't know if I want to go double this.
At
workout.
Danger Zone, Danger Zone. Oh my God.
Yeah,
The Mojo Boys too.
yeah.
I mean, it's just it's like these pods of influence that are so inspiring that when you talk about what you're most proud of, I'm most proud of seeing the progression of just Sarpy County as a whole and how it has gained traction without the push anymore.
Yeah.
Like there was so much grind for so long with so few people. So now that there is this momentum that's taking place, that I just, I don't feel like a redwood because my family tree is very small.
Yeah.
But I do feel like being able to support in ways to give that growth, the opportunity to at least seed the ground, I think that's what I'd be most proud of.
When you give guys a chance to lead, right, at F3, it's all about to plant growth or small leadership or small workout groups or leadership or reinvigoration of male community leadership. We're invigorating male leadership, and you're giving guys not only the confidence but the platform to do it, or a platform to accelerate in a way that they may not have ever done without it. And it just, when I can't tell you how many times I get to the end of a workout and we're starting to circle up for Mary or name a ramen, and I just look around and I'm just like, cripes. How, this was just me and John Claude standing here staring at each other a couple days, it's just like, and that's okay, but it's just so cool just to see guys embrace it and guys take it and run with it.
We've noticed kind of a growing kind of momentum around Sarpy County guys going up north and vice versa. And you guys are going in like caravans, right? I'll see a truck or a van on the road and it's like 12 of you coming out of it. So what's that about, and why is that important?
I think remembering where we came from, and part of it is missing what we started. Where you started, it's just that's close to your heart, and I want other people to feel what I felt when I was up north, because the environment is different and unique and special for different reasons, and it also gives people ideas on what they can bring back with their own cues. If you haven't been to a Paradise Beatdown, you have to try it, because it is just that was a staple of my first year for that I will. The only reason I didn't say Paradise is because you said Paradise.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but then he turns around and says Paradise, so then it really doesn't do any good. But for me, it's just knowing what's out there is really, really important. And if you only stuck with Sarpy folks, I think it's like staying in your own neighborhood. You're missing a world of opportunity of exposure to great people.
Well, it's almost like not doing F3. Like everybody has roots. Right? It's just opens your world to a bunch of.
We're talking about Sarpy, but we're F3 Omaha.
Yeah, right.
We're F3 Omaha.
of course.
That's exactly what we are, and we're not F3 Sarpy without F3 Omaha.
So here's the thing for me. When I head up north, I don't ride with anybody else. I drive on my own. For one sole reason. I want to embrace all the packs, all the conversations, and then on my way home, I kind of take a mental note of what I hear from the COT or what I heard that day. I turn the radio off, and I think to myself, okay, what can I pull from that's going to help me today or my family? So I like the quiet, that 12 to 17 minutes of quiet in my car. That's what we, not to say grew up, but we grew up in F3 doing. Was, John Claude and I went to Top Rope. He almost flew off the interstate when that overpass over the Dodge overpass. They diverted me into Regency, but it was all for us to go. It was, arm bars, a site at the time for Top Rope. I think Sparty was on the queue that day. Happened to be Veterans Day, and it was important. So we were there. And so but for me, it was more of going to get a cup of coffee, and then driving home slowly. During the pandemic, it was very interesting. At that time, there was no one on the road.
Nope.
Early on, obviously early, there was people when pandemic happened. There was nobody on the road at 4:45, 4:50 in the morning. So I don't know. It's just I think it's not even paying homage. It's just saying, okay, hey, we are one. If we're asking them to come down and support us here in Papillion and Gretna and down in Springfield, we should be doing the same and going up. I say up north, but going the 5 miles of 84th Street. Yes, it is north, but going 5 miles. It's not not significant amount of time for me to do that. So,
and it's what I would say to that is it's pretty amazing the different relationships that you can make just by heading up north. I went to the mess hall, and that's awesome site.
Great site.
Great site. Good thing. Congrats. I'll give kudos to White Rye. White Rye.
White rice or
White rye.
white
Yeah,
rice?
sorry.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Mr. Brother.
It's white right, but
It's
okay.
You know what? It's all these guys. You know, it was a tugboat beatdown, and you know, just an awesome, hilarious dude with a great background story, and just
huge energy.
yes, but it's like the welcomingness, and you know, I'm a firm believer in you can never have enough friends. You can never have enough people, you know, in your court, and just getting to these sites and meeting these other people and talking to them on pre-runs, pairing up with them in a grinder at these different sites. It's amazing to learn other people's stories and get other ideas on beatdowns and just life in general. You know, there's definitely things that I've learned on how to live my daily life. You know, how to be the best father I could be, how to be the best husband I could be, and that is from kind of almost sitting back and looking at how guys are at these different sites, and it's I would say a huge benefit to go and meet up these other packs. And a lot of times they are going to come to the Sarpy sites, but it's just different when you get kind of more in their element and you're around the majority of them, and you're kind of the outlier, how they treat you and how you feel welcomed and what you can kind of gain from that.
Any other thing?
Well, there was one I was going to ask. We've been very serious conversation. We've been very good. I was going to ask if there's any Sarpy Swagger posers. You know, like that kind of like, man, that name's really cool.
Like
Maybe-
they want to be.
Yeah.
They don't
but
live in Sarpy.
Unfortunately, they don't live here, so it's kind of like.
I know
Well,
one.
I know there's like a shirt floating around with like a Mojo label on it. Oh,
Kind of started. It's kind of on life support, isn't it?
like we should have something of our own. Or, I don't
Red
know.
flag and
Hey,
everything.
now let's say this in fairness, he did introduce himself as Miller Mojo. I mean, he came from the get go from the start.
You know, that was definitely OT. Mojo was OT.
Yeah.
And it is a sweet OT. That is a sweet logo.
Yes, sir.
I think it's
Cheers.
fantastic. I love that. It's fantastic.
That guy makes me.
The show flags that you
logos.
do is fantastic.
You know, as we close, I just kind of reflecting on what is Sarpy Swagger. We heard topics of pride, you know, showing up, the sugar rays or the thoroughbreds, acceptance, acceleration, and accountability through the WhatsApp shield lock. I mean, that thing is the most massive form of a shield lock that you can ever imagine. And I think when it comes down to it, from meter beginnings to warp speed growth, whether you're DC, West Omaha, or Mojo, or you're Sarpy County, just freaking post.
Just post, baby.
I would like to. One more question. What we sort of asked it, but what do you guys want to keep seeing here? I mean, you reach a growth point if you don't continue to find
Inflection.
people in different kind of pockets of the community. But where do you see this going in another year or
The
two?
future.
This area of the F3 Omaha.
I think Sarpy has a tremendous opportunity for kind of the rucking community, for just you look around at 3 Omaha and yes, we have a number of respect packs and we love that, and we have that in Sarpy to an extent, but I just think there's so much more for the community of Papillion and
The Bruiser.
for the Bruisers. I just think that it's coming. It's going to happen, and we're going to make some opportunity to be able to do that. But the other thing is, guys just keep giving it away. You know that they, you know, other than Tony the Tiger, most of the guys are pretty good at EH.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
man, just keep giving it away.
Yeah.
2021 was a year that I saw from Sarpy County, Sarpy Swagger, where we kind of, you know, thanks to, there's a couple guys that get credit for this. I'd give a lot of credit to Firewalker, but really and Gunner really pushing Q Source on Saturday mornings. That has been huge for a group of guys, and I think every week we're seeing a little more. Guys are gravitating towards that. So I see that gaining more and more momentum as we're doing the free to lead in Sarpy County starting tomorrow morning, Titan Alley, and then on Wednesdays. Another thing I would say that at least I saw big time growth from when I started till this last year was the third F component. It's amazing what F3 Omaha's done, but just really in Sarpy what we've accomplished. And I know the big thing with the Miller Mojo and what you guys helped establish was Project Pink, and how much that game, and I only feel like that momentum is just going to continue to grow.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be able to do so much more, obviously with the CSOP finishing up with hopefully getting to 2 basketball hoops.
Mm-hmm.
But I just see that there's going to be so much more that we can do for the Sarpy communities as far as third
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome.
Well, F3 Omaha, that is our closing topic. So with that said, thank you, boys. Appreciate you.
All
See you
right.
today, B2C.
Cheers.
We're all empty here.
See, this thing's still going.
Ferdinand,
All
how's
right.